welcome back to the show. Today we are asking the question, does the United States care about the NBA Finals? Obviously, we are all basketball fans and we all watch the NBA Finals. Even though last year, I'll admit, didn't really have a dog in the fight, so I skipped the first couple games. But how much cultural relevance does the NBA Finals have to the casual sports fan compared to other ultimate sporting events, namely the Stanley Cup Finals and the World Series? I'm not talking about the Super Bowl. I've already talked about the Super Bowl. The NFL is America's favorite league, and every other league is dwarfed in comparison. Now, if you are interested in the NBA, your interest is actually a bit niche. The NBA isn't near as popular as it was during the Lakers three-peat, and it's not near as popular as it was during Jordan's runs with the Bulls during the 90s. I want to remind you, I'm talking about sports viewership in America, not worldwide. I've got a bunch of videos regarding the worldwide interest in basketball, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. So when was the NBA at its lowest point in viewership? It was the bubble finals with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat. The finals averaged about 8 million viewers a game. For reference, the year before it was the Warriors and the Raptors, and that averaged about 15 million viewers a game. That's over double if you have a hard time hearing numbers and processing them like I do. So why would this be? You have the league's most popular player playing one of his former teams and former coaches. This is not exactly a league pass finals. Also, everyone was quarantined and they were stuck at home. What else were they supposed to watch but the NBA Finals? Well, there were a couple reasons people didn't care about the finals that year. Let's talk about the biggest factor, the NF motherfucking L. The NFL season had only started a few weeks before. The finals had to compete with Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, and Thursday Night Football. And if you watch this show regularly, you know America loves the good old pigskin. Secondarily, it had to compete with the Stanley Cup Finals and the World Series. Any casual sports fan had a ton of options. The other reason is there were no spectators in the building, and it gave the whole thing a really weird vibe. I want to give the NBA credit though, because I think they did a really good job creating a cool environment given the circumstances. But the bubble finals isn't really an anomaly. Even though 15 million people watched it the year before, this is actually pretty low compared to history. And the viewership during the finals hasn't gone up over the past 2 years. The Suns-Bucks finals averaged about 9 million viewers, and the Boston Celtics Golden State Warriors last year averaged about 11. I love basketball as much as anyone else watching this channel, but we have to admit the NBA is losing cultural relevance in the United States. But it doesn't really matter because there's a lot of international interest that generates a lot of revenue, so the NBA is going to be around for a long time. Moving on. So what's going on here? Why does your mom not know the name Nikola Jokic or Giannis Antetokounmpo? Or why did my grandmother know every player on the Bulls 96 roster but didn't even know that Oklahoma City had a team? Well, let's dig into some older, more popular finals and figure out if we can find a pattern. We don't even gotta go too far back. The Cleveland Cavs Golden State Warriors finals between 2015 and 2018 averaged about 20 million viewers a game. Why could this be? Did the game become more exciting during these 4 years? No, it was the narrative. We had LeBron returning to Cleveland. That's very interesting. We also had the homegrown Warriors who kind of came out of nowhere, led by a likable star who was the greatest three-point shooter we've ever seen. These series became more popular as these two teams kept meeting in the finals. This is a rivalry narrative. People could jump in, they knew exactly what was going on, just like they did in the 90s with the Bulls. People knew the Bulls were the best team, Rodman had crazy hair, Michael Jordan was really cool, and he stuck his tongue out when he dunked. Let's watch some basketball. I also noticed this, the last 2 years that Kevin Durant was with the Golden State Warriors, viewership of the finals actually went down. My theory is the Warriors became less likable when they added KD. The first year was kind of interesting though. The addition of KD felt a bit, and I hate to use this word, but unfair. And the Warriors winning the championship felt like a foregone conclusion. Now, let's talk about the Kobe Shaq runs of 2000, 2001, and 2002. Those pushed even higher numbers than the Golden State Cavs finals. They were doing about 22 million viewers a game. Obviously, the Lakers are one of the most popular franchises in the NBA, so people tuned in to watch them, but I believe there were a few other factors, namely Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. People loved Shaq. He was in movies, he was in commercials, he was on cereal boxes. He also has a great smile and a personality to match. He broke backboards, he brought down the stanchion. This guy had memorable moments. Even if you weren't interested in basketball, you probably knew about something he did. Put more simply, Shaq was a star. And of course, Kobe was a star too, and one of the best players to ever come straight out of high school. He demonstrated a real passion for the game and a strong work ethic, but I think there's one thing we're not thinking about. I might lose some of you on this, but not only were Shaq memorable and charismatic, but they also had a really cool name, Shaq and Kobe. They were easy to remember, and they really lended themselves to a brand rather than a person. So here's a thought I have, and I'm wondering what y'all think about this. I think the league is a little bit behind on which stars it's trying to market. I think there's a large focus on declining past stars like Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, even LeBron James, if I'm being honest. There needs to be a larger push on guys like Luka, SGA, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum. I'm not particularly fond of these guys, but there needs to be a push to come up with their story, because these are the players we're going to be seeing in the finals the next couple years. Your grandmama doesn't know who any of these players are. Now, let's talk about the most watched finals of all time. 1998, Bulls Jazz. This is the dynasty narrative. MJ and the Bulls felt unbeatable. Everyone wanted to tune in to see if Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Phil Jackson could do it one more time, and they did. Michael Jordan got the whole world interested in basketball with his talent, but he became a cultural icon with his endorsement deals. I'm talking Nike, Gatorade, and Hanes, I guess. Not to mention Space Jam. Getting Warner Brothers to co-sign you made it so kids knew who you were. He also had some fun off-court drama. He retired 3 times and played professional baseball for 2 years. It's weird, but it's interesting. Regardless of whether you liked MJ or you didn't, you were invested in his story. So you bet your ass you were there tuned in to watch Michael Jordan go against the generally unlikable Karl Malone. So now that the sun is setting on LeBron's career, the cultural through line of the NBA, the league needs a new story if it wants to triple its viewership and return to the glory days of the 1998 finals, which I didn't mention had about 30 million viewers. But before we end, let's compare the Stanley Cup Finals viewership and the World Series viewership to the NBA Finals, just so we know if it's the NBA that's down or it's everybody. That's not the NFL. Well, the World Series viewership was a little bit down from the finals. It was 11 million while the finals was 12 million. And the MLB has a similar trajectory in terms of viewership. It's declining with a couple spikes here and there, like when Boston beat the Curse of the Bambino in 2004, or the Cubs winning in 2016, breaking a century-long championship drought. 40 million people watched Game 7 of that series against Cleveland. Good for you, Major League Baseball. That's a lot of people. I don't really want to talk about hockey, but I gotta talk about hockey. The Stanley Cup Finals gets anywhere between 2 to 5 million viewers every game. It looks like viewership kind of depends on which teams are in the finals. It seems that if the Blackhawks or the Bruins are in the finals, people are gonna watch that. As of late, the Tampa Bay Lightning seem like a pretty successful team, but they don't get any love. They don't have a lot of supporters. All right, no more hockey. If I had to guess, I don't think that many people are gonna be watching the finals this year. At the time of recording, it could be Boston or Miami. Even last year, Boston didn't really matter. You think that's a big market, but I have a feeling there aren't as many Celtics fans as people say. I think Golden State and the Lakers have the most fans, and I do know what I'm talking about. I've done some research, but Denver is not a huge basketball market, but we will see. I'm very curious. So thank you for being here. Eat your corn dogs. Good luck. Love your mother. Kiss a dog.